Hey guys, welcome to today's vlog. Today we are talking about something very important. We're going to talk about self-love. And also this is something that I've been trying to practice and be a lot more mindful of for a while now. So I wanted to actually sit down and talk about this topic and share with you guys my idea of self-love, as well as different strategies to practice self-love on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to combine this chat with Jess kind of video with two mini book reviews because there are two books that cover this topic so well. The first one is Lana Clarkson's newest book. I think it's her 5th or 4th book. It's called Love You. And I'm going to go through that shortly, but it's absolutely beautiful. And she was actually presenting at a female entrepreneur. She was presenting at a female entrepreneurship seminar that I attended a little while ago, and I got to purchase a copy and have her sign it. And I think it's available for pre-order. I don't know if it's out in stores just yet. And the other book I want to talk about shortly is called When I Loved Myself Enough, and it's by Kim McMillan and Alison McMillan. I'm guessing they're sisters. So it's a really lovely book and a really easy read. It's more of a quote book, just a little flip through there. Now, to start this vlog off, I want to talk to you about what self-love means to me and sort of the different ways I've been practicing it and some different strategies that I have for you guys too. So to me, I feel like self-love, it's a combination of a few factors. I think self-compassion comes into it, self-acceptance. I think self-compassion and self-acceptance are very closely tied to this idea of self-love. And self-acceptance to me is not judging yourself for having any flaws or imperfections. And I'm using inverted commas here because I don't believe in flaws and imperfections. I believe that everybody is different and has different quirks, personality traits. We're always working on being better, improving ourselves and learning things. And it's not like there's anything wrong with us. So we should accept ourselves, and often it's the things that make us different and the things that we find hard to accept in ourselves that actually draw other people to us and that make us interesting. And so relating to self-acceptance, self-compassion is all about just taking it easy on ourselves. Again, not judging ourselves, not feeling pressured to be a certain way. And when I think about self-compassion, I like to think about how would I treat a very good friend of mine if they were in a challenging situation, and would I treat myself the same way? And unfortunately, I feel like most of the time we're not. I think it's really easy to be harder on ourselves, to have unrealistic expectations and the way that we should look or be or act. So I think that self-acceptance and self-compassion are fundamental in practicing self-love. It's all about being kind to ourselves and not having these unrealistic expectations and putting pressure on ourselves and judging us for being a certain way. So I want to talk about the different ways that we can practice self-love. And for myself, for example, I try and set aside time every day to look after my body. I go to yoga most mornings. I eat well. I also try and think about self-love though, not just in a physical sense, but on a mental state as well. So if I have different obligations and I'm not feeling well or I'm feeling a little bit stressed, to actually allow myself to underload and say that's okay if I can't accomplish everything on my list or if I can't please everybody. To really love yourself means you're not just eating well or exercising regularly and having a bath every night or making a cup of tea. It's so much more than that. And I honestly think that the essence of self-love comes from how we perceive ourselves and different situations. It's this whole mental state. So for example, if I have a commitment to go and see my friends and I haven't seen them in a couple of weeks because I've been really busy with work, and then I end up with a really bad cold, am I going to push myself? And I've done this in the past, but am I going to push myself and go purely because I don't want them to think that I'm flaky and I don't want them to think that I don't care or that they're going to judge me? Or do I just let them know that I'm not well and I don't allow myself to feel guilty? I just accept where I'm at and simply tell them and just be completely honest. I know that however they see me, if they're really good friends of mine, then they're gonna understand. And if they don't, then that's on them and it's not on me. So for me, that's actually a very big part of self-love. And I think that's the self-compassion side of it. So I'm curious to see if any of you guys have ever been in different situations where you know that you've done something and it wasn't really right for you, but you just wanted to please others. And if you can now, looking back, identify that maybe that was an opportunity to practice self-love and to do what was actually right for you at the time, instead of having these feelings of obligation or guilt creep in. And also, whilst I'm talking about this, I really want you guys to get involved and comment down below how you view this idea of self-love and the sort of things that you do on a day-to-day basis to practice self-love. And I also think that we can all benefit from hearing other people's points here. Now, I want to take a few minutes to talk about this book here. I didn't have any post-it notes on me, so I ended up creasing the bottom of the pages, but I wanted to read out to you a few of my favorite pages here, and I really think that they embody this idea of practicing self-love and the implications that it can have on our day-to-day lives as well. Every page starts with the phrase, "when I loved myself enough," so I thought I should probably say that because otherwise it's gonna seem a little bit redundant. So this page says, "When I loved myself enough, I learned to meet my own needs and not call it selfish." Again, it's about self-compassion there. This one says, "When I loved myself enough, I began feeling such relief." I definitely think it is so freeing when we fully accept who we are and we genuinely love ourselves, that all of these obligations, all of these feelings of not being enough, of not being good enough, not being worthy enough, feeling like we need to impress people, all those chains just come off, and it is just the best feeling ever. And I feel like I have a tendency to fall into the trap of feeling not good enough sometimes, and again those shackles seem to go on. But when you're mindful and you can finally realize that you're in that situation where you're not being very kind to yourself, then working through that, it's going to enable you to feel so much lighter and so much happier. Here's another one. "When I loved myself enough, I began leaving whatever wasn't healthy. This meant people, jobs, my own beliefs and habits, anything that kept me small. My judgment called it disloyal. Now I see it as self-loving." This resonates with me so much right now. I do not want to go into detail with it, but honestly, yes. Practicing self-love means ridding yourself of anything toxic in your life. Relationships, bad habits, bad diet, bad thoughts, anything that is draining your energy. It does not mean that you are disloyal. It does not mean that you don't care. It is purely about being rightfully selfish or rightfully focusing on your own needs. And that is okay. So give yourself permission to get rid of whatever doesn't serve you and know that that is within your rights. Just a couple more. "When I loved myself enough, I started writing about my life and views because I knew this was my right and my responsibility." That definitely relates to this idea of self-acceptance. So own your beliefs, your thoughts, be proud of who you are, and don't ever feel shy. Don't ever try and hide away your views or opinions or religion or anything about yourself because of the fear of being accepted by others. Own you. Just do you. Just do you. You do you. That's what it is. You do you. Okay, if the frame is a little bit different, I'm sorry, my camera just died. So, my battery just died, so I had to recharge it. And whilst I was charging it, I took a little lunch break. So, I had one more quote I wanted to get through, and I actually just post-it noted some of them while I was on a break because I don't want to forget them. But the one I wanted to share with you was, "When I loved myself enough, I learned to say no when I want to and yes when I want to." Preach. So don't do things out of obligation. If you don't want to do something, speak up and say no. It is okay to say no. We are not made to be people pleasers, and we have to be true to ourselves. And if you really want to do something, then feel courageous to raise your hand up or volunteer and go and do it. But don't ever feel like you have to please others or that you're too scared to say no for fear of being judged or disliked. Okay, now I want to get on to Lana Jane's book. This is a really beautiful book. Aesthetically, I'm just gonna say it is absolutely stunning, and it really inspires me to think about how I'd like to design my next book. Not that I know exactly what it's gonna be on, but I do want to come out with a second book in the next little while. I'm not gonna say any dates or any timelines because I don't want to put pressure on myself, but I definitely do want to come out with another book, and this is so beautiful. So I just want to give you a little bit of a flip through. P.S. She signed mine. Yay! I fangirled just for a little bit. I was very excited. So there are a few double page spreads that are displaying different quotes, and I really like that kind of format. There's also a little dedication to the reader at the start saying this book is about you. It's all about finding that motivation, inspiration and sense of purpose in life. And all of the pages actually have different quotes throughout. She even references one of my favorite authors, Robin Sharma. So she's got all these different photos throughout as well. It reminds me a little bit of the Layout for the Life Plan by Shana Kennedy, which is also one of my faves. And you can see another double page spread with photos. So this book covers all these different ways to practice self-care and to love yourself, truly accept yourself, find your purpose in life, and find that courage that we need in order to persevere and be successful, whatever success means to us. And she shares different stories throughout. She's really vulnerable in this book, and there's all these different tips on how to look after yourself and just be happy as well. So I want to find a couple of different chapters that showcase that information and just share that with you. She talks about the importance of being genuine, of being authentic, really being who you are and true to yourself. Also surrounding yourself with positive people, people that bring you up and don't tear you down. Being active, nourishing your body, also having that important downtime and spending time with your friends and your family. There's a lot of different tips that she has for practicing self-care, and I think that doing different actions every day that are going to feed your soul and make you happy will honestly allow you to create a life that you love. And when you're happy in your surroundings and you're happy with the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be much more likely to be able to accept who you are and respect who you are as well, because you're making healthy choices and you're prioritizing you. So comment below one thing that you've done today to practice self-love and self-compassion. It could be something that you bought yourself, something that you did for yourself physically, like going to a dance class, going and exercising, or running yourself a bath, or having a cup of tea. Or it could even be something to do with your mindset, like asserting yourself or standing up for yourself and saying no, or even just feeling more comfortable with your decisions and not feeling guilty about something too. So comment down below. I want to know one thing that you've done for yourself that makes you feel really good, and also what does self-love mean to you? Alright, that's all for today's vlog / book reviews. Have a beautiful day, and I will speak to you all very soon. Mwah. Love you guys. Bye.